Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. It's episode 110. And, of course, with me are my two good friends. To my left is Mr. John Tracy, and to my right, actually, I got that reversed. But anyway,
yeah, that's wrong.
John Tracy to my left, Steve Murray to my right. There we go.
Steve's directly in front of me, and you're over to the right, and I'm over to the left on my screen. So.
Yeah, I know. It's so crazy. Yeah. I'm, of course, Matt Craig. We're happy to have you guys with us. Yeah, it is what it is for sure. But, gents, I mean, I think we all got the memo today, which was great because, I mean, it is Game 6. We're down 3-2, and everyone's wearing Phillies red, man. I mean, we've got to pull this out somehow down in Houston. Anything's possible down there. Got a sport team, man. You know, that kind of deal. So,
did I read somewhere correctly that no team has clinched the World Series at home in like years?
Mm-hmm.
That like sounds 2014 right. Or something. That's good for us.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe, I mean, any sort of, I guess, good vibes that we can send to those boys down there would be obviously huge. But yeah, it's uphill climb, but nothing's impossible. Nothing is ever impossible, and we'll see how it goes for sure.
And go Union too, by the way.
Yeah,
yes,
hell
yes.
yeah.
Championship
the
today.
MLS Cup. Yeah, championship this afternoon. Yeah, we'll see how they do too. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Johnny, though, how you doing, man? How's everything in Texas? What's going on,
everything is awesome. It's a
everything is awesome.
Calm 66 degrees out, and you guys are getting real good temperatures.
Hell yeah. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. More than anything else up here. It's nice. Steve, what's going on with you, man? How are you doing?
I cannot wait for the pitch clock to get implemented next season.
Hell yeah.
A regulation baseball game should not take 4 hours.
Time out.
John's stepping out of the box.
I'm back in the box. Okay, I got it. All right, I'm back in. Ready? Okay.
I'm going to shake it off. Shake it off.
Okay.
Roll through.
Hold on, wait a minute. No, I got to tie my shoe now. Okay. Moving on. I'll finally stand in the box.
There you go.
The Eagles game Thursday night ended like an hour before the World Series game ended, and they started at the same time.
That's
and you know football games are guaranteed to go about 3 hours. That's just the nature of it. A baseball game should not last. Thursday night, Game 5 is the only game I stayed up to watch the whole thing because either they were so far behind or they were so comfortably ahead, I felt like I could go to sleep before the game ended. And you wonder why Major League Baseball can't attract younger viewers.
Yeah.
It's not only you start at 8 o'clock, but if your game's going to go 4 hours, it ends at midnight. At least if you start an NFL game at 8 o'clock, it's going to end at like 11. Okay, it's a recipe for disaster.
What gets me is that during the regular season, Steve, the games start at 7:05. Most of the time they start 7:05. Maybe every once in a while you got a 7:35 start, but it's usually 7:05. And now all of a sudden, and I know why, it's because they want the West Coast. They want the West Coast.
Yeah, they need the West Coast for ratings. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get that, but at the same time, it's like you had that 7:05 start all throughout the entire season. 162 games. Majority of them are 7:05, and now here it is. It's well,
you're
we're
right.
Talking 8:05, 8:30. It's kind of like
it's West Coast. I don't have an issue starting it at 8 if it's going to finish, before today ends.
Yes.
If it goes into extra innings, fine, that happens. But if you're playing just 9 innings, there is no reason we should be turning the clock over to the next day.
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I can't remember maybe a handful of times where I bailed out of a regular season Phillies game because of when it started. I could see that frustration because I'm almost begging. You hit a home run, strike out. I don't care at this point. I just want to go to bed. My fandom is over at that time. I'm tired, and God damn it, Bryce Harper, just strike out so this game can end. Like,
or hit a home run.
I went to
that pitch clock's gonna help.
I went to a AAA Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs game this summer, and they had the pitch clock implemented. Now, the game took a long time because they couldn't get anybody out in like the fourth inning, and they allowed 8 runs to score, so that inning dragged on. But otherwise, that game moved. And I, as a fan, sitting there in the beating hot sun, appreciated that.
Oh, hell yeah.
I could see it helping next season. I can't wait.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
Exactly. Were you, Steve, at the 1-2, the Lehigh game where it was 18-2, and there was at the bottom of the ninth? I think you said this before in the podcast, right?
Yes.
It was
I don't remember if it was on the podcast or not.
Yeah, but it may have been during pre-production. It came out like at the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, and they're up like 16. The opponents were, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, we need a mountain conference. Hold on here."
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That guy needed to be punched in the face. Seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
You're upset. I mean, we're all standing because the kids run the bases after the game. We're all standing in the outfield. It's a 16-run lead with 2 outs. You got 2 guys on. If the guy at the plate hits a home run, it's going to be 18-5. I don't think you need a mound conference.
Exactly.
I don't think that's shaking that pitcher's confidence.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. Johnny, you got a fun fact for us, man.
Speaking of time.
I love this.
I do.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, I have a little time zone fact that I didn't know, and I don't know if anybody knew.
Oh, there we go.
It appears Russia has 11 time zones.
Oh. Man alive.
That doesn't surprise
me.
Now
For 4? Yeah. I think it's 4. Yeah.
Well, continental.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Continental U.S. is 4. If you count Alaska and Hawaii, it's more like
Hawaii,
5 or 6.
5 or 6?
Yeah.
Okay. I think so.
I found it hard traveling, going through 3 time zones. Like, could you imagine traveling from one side of Russia to the other? And it probably could be, I don't know how their time zones work, but even if it's just, a little bit more than ours, you go halfway across the country for a business meeting and it's 11:30 and you left at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's very productive.
I did have a time traveling experience. Coming back from Japan, we left at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Friday, and we arrived in Newark at 3 p.m. the same Friday. So, we went back in time an hour and a half. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, that's too funny. All right, gents. Well, time travel now out of the way. Why don't we go ahead and turn to topic 1 here? And since we're, of course, talking about the World Series, we can't go without this article, gents, from Barstool Sports. And this is interesting. Don't feed Houston. A bunch of legendary Philly restaurants are turning down catering orders for the Astros while they were in Philadelphia. So you go and you read through this article here. Astros had to love what they were seeing throughout the NL playoffs. Phillies were running through the best the NL had to offer. Astros are quickly realizing they've got a 3-day trip to Philadelphia. Imagine there are a few folks within the Houston organization who knew that. They were pumped with how good they'd be eating in Philly, or so they thought. The moment the Astros touched down in Philly, they reached out to Angelo's Pizzeria, home of some of the best pizza you'll find in the country, according to Barstool Sports. Save the question for both of you two later. The best cheesesteaks you'll find on the planet, and a bunch of kick-ass sandwiches on the menu. So they call up Angelo's, but Angelo's said, nope, can't help you. This is amazing. They are too hospitable for that. It's just that the joint is run by a bunch of rabid, diehard Philly sports fans, and they didn't want to spend the entire game cooking instead of actually watching Game 3. So I guess, John, what were your initial thoughts in regards to this article here? This is a little...
They're stupid, because that's a Major League Baseball team. They're ordering 400, 500 items. You could take a nice trip after taking that order, and you maybe don't have to open Monday and Tuesday. it's just that is stupid to turn down that kind of. You know how many people they have to feed? That's not like a player walked in or a fan walked in and they were like, no soup for you. We're not. You're a Houston fan. They literally turned down thousands of dollars. For what reason? Like, you can't put the game on in front. Like, I can cook and watch a baseball game.
Yeah.
Jesus, I watched the Eagles game and the Phillies game at the same time, and nobody was paying me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly
That's
right.
Stupid.
It's crazy. So they struck out at Angelo's. So they tried Mike's Barbecue up a mile down 9th Street, trying to see what they could do here. And so there's this text. I'll go throw this up on the screen. It's basically this chick, Lisa Clark from the Houston Astros, is checking up and saying, hey, looking to get a catering meal set up for November 1st and November 2nd. Can you help me? We need 2 Latin meals per day, total of 4 meals for both days. I'm working with this person on delivery times. Thought a text would be easiest to start. We have a quick turnaround before we're in Philly. Mike's Barbecue turns around and says, we don't do Latin food. We do American barbecue. And then later on, basically, it's like, well, I'm not feeding them either. Basically, this Mike's Barbecue guy was like saying, well, forget it. So, I mean, literally, it's like the Astros are trying to, like, locate anybody within the city of Philadelphia to, like, cook them food, and they're not finding it. It's crazy. Steve, what are your thoughts on all of this? It's just strange.
I'm going to say the same thing that I said in text message when you guys first sent me the story, which is this is a dick move.
Yeah,
it's a total dick move. I don't like it. I feel like that puts us in a bad light. I mean, you can hate the Astros all you want, and I do, and I wish them ill on the field. But I mean, they're guests in our city, for 3 days. I certainly would treat them hospitably. Give them their food. Now, I think there was clarification later on Mike's that they called the wrong Mike's, because apparently there's another one that does serve Latin food. That's the one they should have. So Mike's wasn't like, no, you're the Astros, screw you, go away. It was, we don't. That's not what we do. If you want that, you got to go to a different Mike's.
Yeah.
Whereas the Angelo's guy was just being a tool. And that's I'm a big sportsmanship guy. That just it rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I get the fandom and everything, but I don't understand the lack of hospitality. That to me is like, and if it's just something really simple like cooking like a catering meal, who's turning down that in this economy? And that's what I would like to know. Like, what's the rationale? Is it just because they're not wearing Phillies red and they want to make them uncomfortable? I guess, but at the same time, it's just so weird and so bizarre.
And just for them, I bet you if they asked Bryce Harper how he felt about it, he'd probably tell them they're dumb too. Because why would you turn that kind of money?
Yeah,
and this wouldn't happen in Houston. Houston would feed the Phillies. I know that for a fact.
100%.
They would. Yeah, Houston wouldn't. You wouldn't hear this coming from Houston, and that's terrible that it's coming out of our city.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I guess we've, of course, all three of us grew up in the city, in and around the city of Philadelphia, in the suburbs, of course, gents, and we've seen some, shall we say, nefarious behavior over the years. Of course, being in the vet. Where they basically, it was famous that fans that if they were rowdy or caused fights in the stands, they'd be taken to a jail underneath the stadium and prosecuted right then and there, basically.
Well, that to me, that doesn't just happen here. And that's, it's tensions are high in a stadium. There's probably a shitload of booze involved. Drunkards are going to fight all the time, no matter what. Yeah. This is, outside of the context of the game. Sober, I presume they operate the restaurant sober.
I hope so.
Right. Would,
a team is coming to you and hey, we need a catering order. Can you do this for us, please? And the guy just is like, no, I'm a Phillies fan. Screw you. It makes me feel.
Why not make the food and put loser on each bag and handwritten notes like you suck? Like, why not do actually what fans do? Like, why wouldn't you rib them the whole time? Like,
cheaters.
Maybe,
right?
Maybe send them like half the order is completely different to what they ordered, but then you send them the actual order later. Like, have fun with it. If that would have hit the news, everybody would have loved that. That would have been a good. But no, you got to be a douche. Just be like, nope. I have no sense of humor. You can't come here.
I'm not going to feed you. You're going to you have to go to Wawa or something like that.
That is the least Philly thing I've ever heard. Someone from Philadelphia be like, nope, you can't have any food.
I want you to starve.
It's just so weird. It's like, competitive advantage is one thing, but like this is below the belt, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Honestly,
it is.
If we're being very generous on that. But yeah, it's literally like, it's interesting, because of course, like we've had that history, I guess you could say, quote unquote, of nefarious fan behavior. But you guys also, while I was on vacation earlier this year, you guys talked about, I'll never forget, it was like the New York fan basically beating up a Tampa Bay Lightning fan in Madison Square Garden. And like there was hardly any talk of that in that regard. Now, this is not virtually the same thing, but Philadelphia seems to always have, whenever it started back in the 60s when you had like Santa Claus being booed by the fans, and he was only being booed because he was horrible. He was a horrible halftime performer.
He was that's what I heard. He was a crappy Santa.
Yeah.
It wasn't Santa being booed. It was the dude playing Santa.
Santa that was being booed.
Right.
And so you have that on top of it. But yeah, the stuff that went on in MSG earlier this year, it's like, come on. And not only mentioning that too, guys, but who was it? Aaron Judge up in New York. I mean, they're having some difficult times with the Yankee fan base. He was getting booed despite the fact that he hit 62 home runs to get him into the playoffs to begin with.
What have you done for me lately?
Came up short. Exactly. Yeah. I guess in that regard, but it's like, my point is it goes around in all cities. Basically.
I totally agree with you, and it's
absolutely.
It's our reputation. I agree. I mean, there was an article I read this week talking about how before they came to town, the Astros are going to hear it for the cheating because this is sort of like the first time they're really in town since that all came about. And the guy was like, well, that was 5 years ago. You should let it go, But he brings up Santa Claus. And I'm like, all right, well, that was 60 years ago. You're not letting that go, are you?
Yeah, exactly.
But we should let the Astros cheating go because it's only been 5 years. What?
Yeah. And no one's remembered that. Give me a break.
That's a part of the game. Fans are gonna rib you there. That's the one thing I don't like about this restaurant story, because this isn't even fandom. This is seems to be lazy BS.
Yeah.
And then
this is douchebaggery at its highest.
Yeah. But then it shines a terrible light on fans.
Yeah, and what a reputation now that pizzeria is going to have to deal with, I guess, in a regard. I mean, they're still going to get Philly love, but at the same time,
of course they are.
We got a pizzeria now that basically is going to just not feed people from the outside. Okay, that
not
makes
very
no
Philly.
sense. So,
it's not very Philly.
This isn't the pizzeria that serves the food at the Wells Fargo Center, is it?
I don't think it is.
Good
question.
I was just curious. I don't know. Because you brought up, you said you were going to ask us about their statement.
Lorenzo's.
Oh, Lorenzo's. Okay.
I thought it was Lorenzo's. Yeah.
Lorenzo's is the one at Wells Fargo. That's pretty good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever been to Angelo's, so I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Given this, I probably won't ever go there either.
Yeah.
If they're related to Angelo Cataldi, it's all...
Yeah. I guess I'll never have the world's greatest cheesesteak.
I guess not. No.
Yikes.
All right, gents, here we go with topic number 2. And I promise you, for the very last time this year,
Oh, now it's just this year. Now it's just
this year.
We're going to talk about Elon Musk and his purchase, finally, of Twitter. It did actually go through, finally.
I hope he sells it tomorrow.
I know, I do too. I think that probably would help him out a lot. I don't know. But the backlash that has been happening, gentlemen, over this purchase now, and the letting go of the former CEO, the former CFO, I think a few other people, and now, of course, all the Twitter employees that have been there, they're all getting let go. And the hubbub that's been floating around this guy, I don't even know where to even begin or start with this. But it is fascinating to see this tremendous backlash that has been happening. People upset over $8 for having a blue check mark. Really? We're upset over a blue check mark that we have to pay $8 for it now?
I worked so hard to earn that blue check mark for free.
Exactly.
When I'm making money off of my social media accounts.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, guys, this just came in. This is a little bit of a surprise for both of you.
Oh.
But Fox Business, Twitter employee says he was fired while sleeping, as
awesome.
Elon Musk has company workforce. So this guy was basically just a software engineer. He tweeted, woke up Friday morning, discovered he'd been laid off. Couldn't access Slack, couldn't access his work email. His laptop remotely wiped, gone, see you later, you're out of here, basically.
Wow, the way he made that sound
pal.
Originally is Elon kicked in his door, woke him up, and was like, you're fired! And then ran out the door.
Yeah.
I don't think that happened.
Joined the club. Yeah. And of course, this is paramount to the fact that, of course, Musk was basically warning everybody Thursday night and Friday that, basically half of the workforce was going to get cut, and he has the right to do that. He bought the company, and there's been stories about 10 managers to one coder. So it's kind of like, okay, you're micromanaging that one coder to death. What else are you supposed to do in that regard? Steve, I'll go with you and your reaction to all of this nonsense.
Okay, moving on. We're done now.
Right?
I just think it's funny. Matt's like, I don't know where to begin. Steve, you take
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with this.
This is probably why we shouldn't talk about Elon, because I don't think all three of us care that much.
Exactly, yeah.
I do follow him on Twitter because I do like his repetition of douchebag tweets all the time when he's just like, oh, Twitter's fun again. Like, we know it's not, but he's making fun of the media that is. I like that about him, but other than that, launch a rocket.
Well, please. Go.
Please.
I can't speak to the cleaning house he's doing. I don't know about the inner workings of Twitter. I don't know what was going on there. If he bought the company and felt like they didn't need half the workforce, I mean, he's entitled to do that. We all know he doesn't have the best bedside manner.
Yes.
And Dr. IP's at war with him over intellectual property rights.
Yes.
But
and we back Dr. IP, so
good. Absolutely. Good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I can't really speak to, maybe he hasn't handled it the best way, but if he's a smart business guy, if he felt like the business was suffering based on the employment structure there, then it's got to be what it's got to be. Yeah. What I can speak to is all the. It's whenever you have a presidential election, if so and so is elected, I'm moving to Canada, right?
Yeah.
That kind you hear that all the time.
It's like, well, when Elon buys Twitter, I'm leaving Twitter, and there's all this news about like, oh, it's the minute he bought Twitter, there were 5,000 uses of the N-word and racial horrible things going on. And I've been following my Twitter for the week since he bought it, and I'm like, I haven't seen a change.
No,
I guess I'm not. I guess I'm not following the right people or the wrong people. But nothing has changed for me. I don't see anything any different, and maybe that's just because I use social media for sports entertainment and for fun and not for serious things.
Your life. Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. Musk tweeted on Friday, gents, regarding Twitter's reduction in force. Unfortunately, there is no choice when the company is losing over $4 million per day. Everyone exited was offered 3 months of severance, which is 50% more than legally required, end quote. Musk tweeting that out. Very fascinating in that regard. He also fired Twitter's top executives upon taking control, including those involved in the decision to ban former President Donald Trump from the platform. Twitter employees began posting online about the forthcoming layoffs Thursday evening. They had been locked out of their computers, received notifications about the pending workforce reduction. One ex-employee who is 8 months pregnant says she lost access to her work laptop Thursday night. Last Thursday night in the SF office, really the last day Twitter was Twitter. 8 months pregnant, and I have a 9-month-old. Just got cut off from laptop access. # love where you worked. Wrote this one person who worked on product marketing and the digital brand. Yeah. Little known fact. Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, that could happen anywhere just because it's Twitter and Elon.
Yeah.
That's,
I'm sure that happens more than once. Yeah.
I've been through it in my own career. I remember, you guys know, I was working for Comcast at the time, and they basically sold, I should say. They sold their cellular division to SBC Communications. Back then, it was the former Singular Wireless, and it was basically hold on. Then all of a sudden, bam, shoe dropped, and I was pretty much out of a job. But I had a severance. They gave me a severance package, for the rest of the remainder of the year, and but I was unemployed, and it was like, okay, it sucks, but I'm doing pretty well for myself now, being in multiple jobs.
Exactly.
So.
And if you got a 3-month severance pay and you immediately get to file for unemployment, right? You're getting fired. You're getting severance pay. You can file for unemployment. You can go look for another job. Doesn't sound like Elon. It sounds like what the article is trying to say, or people are saying, that he's throwing people out on the street with nothing, when he literally is doing what, and maybe a little more than what most businesses would do when they're losing that kind of money per day. Okay, what do I have to get rid of to make that get back here? Like, nobody could, within their right mind, can literally say, with those numbers of him losing that much money, that he should just eat it. Like, he should just eat the $4 million loss every day. He wouldn't have any money after that.
No. It's almost like you would be losing $120 million per month.
Yeah.
That's like, really?
No business would survive.
That.
Yeah. No business would survive.
Yeah. And you could extrapolate that out to a quarter. That's like, what, $360 million per business quarter. You're not going to be in business that long if you're going to continue to lose money in that regard. And money is very, very precious, obviously, as all three of us know. It's very precious, and you have to find ways to cut costs. Unfortunately, that falls on employees. And if you're an at-will employee, guess what? You're subject to that. You're not under a union, in that regard. So buck up, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, get your resume together, go on the interviews.
If you work for Twitter, if you work for Twitter and marketing, I'm pretty sure you could get a job.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
I'm also fairly sure, having heard Elon speak about his employees previously, you may not want to work for him anyway.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
It might be a blessing.
Yeah, it might be a blessing. Exactly right. Exactly. All right, gentlemen. Well, here we go with topic number 3, episode 110 of Two Noobs. And gents, before you take that 3rd or 4th shot of the boosters for the Omicron virus, you might want to just hold off on that. According to the Miami Herald here, quote, COVID booster may lower Omicron protection against Omicron reinfection. Study finds. So as Steve is falling over,
Steve, long enough to figure that out.
I just happened to look up and wait a minute, where's Steve? Oh, there he is. A COVID-19 booster, specifically a third vaccine dose, may lower protection against getting infected with the Omicron variant again for some people. And there's a reason why. New findings suggests. In contrast, 2 vaccine doses followed by an initial Omicron infection may protect more against a second Omicron infection than an extra jab, according to a preprint study published November 1st to MedRxiv, a server run by Yale, BMJ, and Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. That sounds really expensive, Johnny. I don't know about you.
Yes, it does.
Due to a specific reaction within the immune system, researchers concluded. So here's what the findings mean. You ready for this, John? If you get infected with Omicron at any time, a third vaccine dose actually doubles your risk of reinfection compared to 2 doses only. So that's fascinating.
Good thing I didn't get my third shot then, huh?
Yeah, I was just going to say, study points to immune imprinting as the reason why 3-dose vaccination was associated with reduced protection compared to that of 2-dose vaccination. Immune imprinting is a phenomenon in which an initial exposure to a virus limits a person's future immune response against new variants. So that's what they mean by immune imprinting. So, gents, we love talking science. Obviously, you can't continue to get shot up like a pincushion with these things. I'm just saying, just seems like to me. But it's a little... I think the shots are getting a little old. I don't know what you guys think. John, what do you think?
Well, if they're not
kind of getting a little tired of all these.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed that the media talks about the immune system because it went away for a while. It's coming back though, so we're good. We're good. The more research they do, the more they're going to find. This was the whole point of everybody, all 3 of us included. Hey, stop and wait and let the smart people figure it out. Let them do what scientists do. There'll be more. There'll be more. It'll keep coming out. Like, some will be good news, some will be bad news, some will be, news that nobody cares about. Like, if you get the 75th jab and only like 6 people got that one, like nobody's gonna care about that one.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is how science works. The smart people go into the labs and they do tests. They come back and they report that. You make informed decisions on what you want to do with your life, and you move on. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty much. The findings suggest that the immune response against the primary Omicron infection was compromised by differential immune imprinting in those who received a third booster dose, consistent with emerging laboratory science data. Gentlemen, interesting.
So what I'm hearing, and I'm not a biologist, but what it sounds to me like is...
They're closer than we are, so...
You got infected by Omicron. And so your body's like, all right, I know what Omicron is. I have immune protected you if the event it changes in these ways. You get a third shot, and now your body's like, oh, I guess I should protect you against this instead and forget about what I learned from Omicron. And because Omicron is going to evade that vaccine, you could get it again.
Yep.
So yeah, and you're not protected
that's
from
what
the
I'm
original.
Hearing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm interpreting as well, Mr. Murray, on that. Researchers note that none of the participants' reinfections were severe. Of course not. Which was not unexpected given the lower severity of Omicron infections. I'm surprised this article, gents, side note, I'm surprised this wasn't fact-checked. To be perfectly honest, to John's original point, because you're exactly right, John.
I'm shocked.
The immune system literally got fact-checked out of here during the early stages of this pandemic. But it's back now. That's nice to know. It really is nice to know.
Can we report that, like Tom Brady retiring and re-entering the NFL? Can we beat everybody to death with that over the weekend in every news broadcast and talk about it for 24 hours instead of talking about Tom Brady? Might help people out. I don't know.
But
he's getting divorced, John. We need to talk about that. It's incredibly important to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl hopes
and their playoff hopes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
no,
you know?
What's going to happen in Tampa Bay? Who knows? But
hold on, breaking news.
Going to make the
breaking news. JT Realmuto just sneezed.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
there you go.
It just
God
happened.
bless you, JT.
In the locker room when he was getting his pants on, he sneezed. And now we're going to go live. We're going to go live to the locker room where everybody is hiding because a sports person moved after he sneezed, and we don't know what's going to happen later.
There you go.
More at 11.
There you go.
I got
More at 11.
Breaking news. Tom Brady's still divorced. That's it.
There you go. We'll throw that in there. Why not? Finally, gentlemen, the authors wrote this, quote, "There is no question that the booster dose reduced infection incidence right after its administration. Nonetheless, findings indicate that short-term effects of boosters may differ from their long-term effects," end quote.
Yeah.
Study acknowledges some limitations, including how they looked into recorded reinfections and how some infections could have occurred without being recorded. The preprint study comes 2 months after the Food and Drug Administration authorized new booster doses called bivalent boosters made by Pfizer and Moderna out of the goodness of their hearts. I don't care what you both say. That target Omicron subvariants BA4, BA5, BA6, BA7. Oh, I'm sorry. BA 7.56 or 4.3. Things along those lines. So there you go. I don't care what you both say. They did it out of the goodness of their hearts.
Yeah. This is brought to you by Pfizer.
I'm surprised they didn't work to suppress this article, frankly.
Yes.
It works against their interests, you know.
So, Matt, what you were telling me with the short-term vaccination is that you got jabbed with something. Not you personally. I'm just saying. They learned that you got jabbed by something, and your immune system reacted to it. And everything was good.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Like, so the body was working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the body was working. Okay.
You mean the T cells were actually activated? Yeah.
I don't know if they were just jabbing dead people. So it was actual people, and like they found what we all know. Like they got jabbed, and their body did something.
Exactly. It reacted and kicked it out of the system. So there you go.
Okay.
Just crazy. As of November 3rd, more than 22 million people in the U.S., 7% of the entire population, gentlemen, in the United States, have received the newest bivalent COVID booster dose. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Meanwhile, nearly 227 million people.
We got to get them to do it nasally.
I'll try that. According for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. How about that?
Much better.
227 million people have completed their primary series of either one or two doses. The CDC recommends everyone stay up to date on their COVID-19 vaccines. This message brought to you by Pfizer and Moderna. So there you go.
Don't forget about Johnson & Johnson.
Oh no, they're the ugly stepchild. They're the ugly stepchild. They got kicked to the corner long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, yeah.
They had a dream of just needing one shot and it failed.
I wonder why
it's
the
all about
stats
hitting
are
that quota.
I wonder why the stats are so low. Could it be because of all of the misinformation and the confusion in the media of not knowing what end was up and what end was down? Could that be why the stats are so low?
The media prints out misinformation, Johnny? I don't think that's true at all. No way. Oh my goodness.
But you know, it couldn't have anything possibly to do with the fact that people were getting it even though they were vaccinated. That would have no impact on a person's decision whatsoever.
You can't say that.
That sounds But that sounds like a conspiracy theory. So, I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Steve.
you can't say that. That's Steve's
No,
got the
it's
tinfoil
true.
hat today.
It's true.
It
My
is.
wife
It
got
is.
She was
It is.
vaccinated.
It is very
vaccinated.
true.
She got it.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
vaccinated.
Very-
I probably got it because I didn't test,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
they
I-
tested positive. I assumed I was positive.
I wouldn't be surprised if I got it in January 2020 before everything was reported. And then also got it probably just this last week, gentlemen.
Oh, nice.
You know,
There you go.
sneezing a little bit and all that
Little
kind of stuff.
Omicron. There you go.
Got a little Omicron.
There
It
you
was
go.
mild symptoms. But did I report? No, I don't need to because it's none of anyone's business, to be perfectly honest. And I have a healthy immune system, too. That's another thing.
You seem
That's up for
fine.
debate. That's
Yeah,
up for
thank
You
you.
seem fine.
Sure.
Are you hiding the fourth arm or the third eyeball or whatever? Like,
I
are you
don't know.
hiding it?
I'll, you know what? Tell you what. I'll check that in the commercial break, so I'll be back.
Oh
in
no,
a
you got it.
I mean, well, what for the fourth arm from what? I mean, what are you implying, John?
That Omicron is so dangerous. It just, you get it and you morph into this evil being. See? My point perfect. This thing is dangerous.
Not actually. Come to think of it, my voice has changed. You
Because your
realize that,
testicles
gentlemen?
dropped.
Like, that's probably true. That's probably true.
Breaking news: Matt is now the new Centers for Disease Control media representative. Nice, cool. Okay.
There you
You're really gonna get the truth now.
That's what I'm here for, Johnny. Come on.
No, not when he gets that first check from Pfizer. It's all going to hell.
Exactly. It's gonna
Exactly
go
right.
back to two noobs talking TWO. It's gonna be me and Steve staring at each other.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Till one of us
Have to
grows a
visit
third
Matt in the
head.
Hamptons.
All right, gents. Oh, man alive. That's another a kickback of the vaccines. What's going on right now with Steve over there? Anyway, fortunately, we're not in the same room together. That's all I've got to say in regards to that.
Steve has always been like this. I don't think COVID has.
That's true. All right, gents. Well, here we go. Last topic of the day, episode 110 of Two Noobs. And, gentlemen, as we head into the November months, of course, we're going to fall back an hour tonight as we record, which is great. Always love this time of year. But the U.S. Congress, gentlemen, is split on making daylight savings time permanent. Of course, you've heard, probably some people have heard, hopefully, maybe if you're a part of Two Noobs, that you've heard rumblings about in Congress whether or not they wanted to basically ditch the whole, okay, we got changed, drop an hour or add an hour, whatever, fall or spring, respectively. But now it seems like Congress, of course, is now stalling again, gentlemen. A push in the U.S. Congress to make daylight savings time permanent, which unanimously passed the Senate earlier this year, has stalled in the U.S. House. A key lawmaker tells Reuters that they've been unable to reach consensus. In March, the Senate voted to put a stop next year to the twice annual changing of clocks. Supporters say it will lead to brighter afternoons and more economic activity. But in the House, though, it's a totally different story. They quote this U.S. Representative Frank Pallone, who chairs the Energy and Commerce Committee. And he said this, gentlemen, quote, "We haven't been able to find consensus in the House on this yet. There's a broad variety of opinions on whether we keep the status quo, move it to a permanent time, and if so, what time should that be?" Pallone, a Democrat, said that opinions break down by region, and it's not by party, it's by region, which makes sense.
That makes sense.
In this regard. Legislative aides told Reuters they do not expect Congress to reach agreement before the end of the year. Supporters in the Senate would need to reintroduce the bill next year if it is not approved by the end of this calendar year, just to give you a heads up on that. Of course, daylight savings time has been in place in the United States since the 1960s. During World War II, daylight savings time was used year-round and was adopted again in 1973 in a bid to reduce energy use because of an oil embargo. But it was repealed about a year later. John, what are your thoughts on this in this entire article? It's very fascinating, obviously, but what do you think? What do you think about all this here?
Well, first, Congress.
What are your thoughts?
That's easy. Congress they don't want to make a decision, so that's exactly what they're doing. Is they're pushing it off because they don't want to make the decision. Congress does this all the time. They're really good at it. They're stalled because of regions. That makes sense. People in Arizona probably don't want it. People in Florida probably want it. Going through the Midwest, it doesn't give the same benefit to everybody. That's why they're kind of stalling here, and they really don't want to make a decision. Especially in an election year, especially with the House being very not balanced right now. They don't want to make a dumb mistake. They don't want to lose one or two of those regions. I totally know why they're stalling. Other than that, they're eventually going to make a decision on this. I'm pretty sure it'll be next year, depending on which one they're going to choose. Because if they choose the time, what is it? The one where it goes forward? They have to get it done.
I think so.
What, by when does that happen?
April? I think it's March.
Okay.
March or April.
So they'll have to do that March or April, or it's going to hold all the way until next year this time if they're going to go that way. So they've got a lot of time. So I can see why they're totally at an election year going, I'm sorry, I don't know where the keys are. I can't. I just don't know where they are.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Supporters also argued that if approved, the so-called Sunshine Protection Act, that sounds made up, by the way, would allow children to play outdoors. It really does made up.
Step back. We got to protect your sunshine. Oh, yeah,
exactly.
Get back.
This act, according to this, would go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead.
I guess this means kids can't play when the sun goes down. Does it immediately? Does the Xbox turn off? Does the swing set stop moving? What exactly happens when the sun goes down for children? I don't understand how.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Can't put a floodlight on.
Yeah, we did that. We did that when we were younger, right? I mean, we would throw the floodlights on if it was like 5:30. You need to see what the hell's going on out there. Absolutely.
Yep.
Supporters also argued that if approved, the so-called Sunshine Protection Act would allow children to play outdoors later, reduce seasonal depression, but also prevent a slight uptick in car crashes that typically occurs around time changes. Notably, crashes with deer. Well, you could solve that by allowing people to hunt them down, basically. Just saying. They also point
to Hunter Matt. Let's go. Get our camo.
Let's go for it, baby. Let's go. Let's get that flintlock rifle out there. Let's do it, baby.
I think that's just a plot by Matt to get John killed. He's gonna
I think so. Yeah.
He's going to have a hunting accident.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt, a.k.a. Dick Cheney.
They also point to studies.
Well, in fairness, you do look kind of like a bird.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's for all the YouTube listeners.
There you go. Exactly. Or viewers. They also point to studies suggesting a small increase in heart attacks and strokes soon after the time change. Really?
Yeah.
And argue the measure.
That's been around for years. They've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's excessive games of peekaboo. Because it's dark out, you get a little more scared. So you can't play peekaboo when the sun goes down.
There you go. Makes sense.
Well, it's not tied to. It's tied to the fact that you're losing an hour of sleep or an hour of the day, and it totally messes up your internal clock. I mean, that's we're not talking about when the darkness is. It's the fact that you actually changed the time, and now you're off by an hour. That can lead to incidents of car accidents and heart attacks because your body is,
just not used to
acting as if it's a different time than what your body is telling you it is, and it's all messed up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the physical act of changing the clock that causes these issues, not when sun goes down. That's a different issue.
Interesting. So yeah, and argue the measure could also help businesses like golf courses draw more customers into the evening. That's interesting. Critics, though, including the National Association of Convenience Stores. I didn't realize that, Johnny, the National Association of Convenience Stores? I didn't know this.
It totally exists. Yeah, it totally exists.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Says it will force many children to walk to school in darkness during the winter.
That's
this
true.
Measure would delay sunrise by an hour in some places. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. And especially like if you're carrying around, that's the last thing you want to be doing, walking around at night, that kind of a deal, especially if you're a kid, not knowing where you're going. But yeah, it's fascinating here.
I'm not
25th. Go ahead. Steve,
I'm not surprised they can't reach a consensus, because I cannot reach a consensus with myself as to what I want out of this. I do hate daylight savings time, and more specifically when you spring forward because of the loss. Tonight's going to be great because I get an hour back. I love that.
Yeah.
But the spring forward I hate, and I would love nothing more than to get rid of it. But if we're going to do permanent daylight savings time, that's true. In the winter, the sun comes up, and if you're on the daylight savings time, it's going to come up really late. It's already coming up now around like 7 o'clock here. 7 a.m. In fact, this is the part of the year I like, because now it'll reset, and at 6:30 when my alarm goes off, there will be some sunlight, and I'm like, okay, that's good, instead of complete darkness. Yeah. But if you don't do that in the winter, it is going to be a very late sunrise. But at the same time, if you go to normal standard time all year round, in the summer, the sun's going to set pretty early, earlier than you're used to, and that's going to be a little bit weird. So I don't know which one I would prefer to go with if we had to make a choice.
Such an interesting dilemma here. You're exactly right. Further on in the article here, gents, and John, I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Since 2015, about 30 states have introduced or passed legislation to end the twice-yearly changing of clocks, with some states proposing to do it only if neighboring states do the same. That's fascinating to me.
Timing's off a cliff.
Yeah, it's almost like, okay, we're going to try and do this together, and let's leap into the dark. That kind of, it's like, wait,
we'll do
what?
it, but only if you guys do it. You guys do it? I don't know. You going to do it? I don't know. Hold them. You going to do it? Yeah, all right, we'll do it if you guys do it. Well, what if you guys do it? Okay.
What if that state doesn't do it? Yeah.
Peer pressure.
Guys, this is interesting, because it's like that's 3/5 of the union that have introduced legislation to to end this twice yearly practice. That's fascinating. To me, at least. The bill would also allow Arizona and Hawaii, who do not observe daylight savings time, to remain on standard time, as well as American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. They all do not observe daylight savings time. So, but that's very interesting. I don't know.
Probably because it doesn't hold any benefit.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hold any benefit to them. So I think they're like, we don't care.
Yeah, I think we should just fall back an hour like every 6 months.
There you go.
It'll be weird for a while. It'll be like noon and the dead of night. But I think it would be cool. Just fall back, get an extra hour every 6 months.
Hours sleep, and
I could deal with
it after a while.
To be honest, that's probably a better idea than what Congress is doing right now.
That's just because Congress is doing it. That's all.
Yes.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you had to make a prediction, gents, last one before we get out here. If you had to make a prediction, do you think it passes? Do you think it not? I know it's putting everybody on the spot here, but I think not. I don't think it's going to happen. Even after the House flips, or potentially.
You said the Senate. You said the Senate was unanimous.
Senate was unanimous. Yes.
That's.
Yeah. But it's stalled in the House. Yeah.
I don't know that again. You'll ever reach an agreement as to which time to permanently settle on. which is why I'm surprised the Senate was unanimous in it. But I just find it hard to believe, especially with states like Arizona where you don't do it at all. You don't do daylight savings. Why would their representatives vote for permanent daylight savings?
Yeah,
it'd be a little weird.
Exactly.
It would be. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think
What do you
think
think,
it passes. I think it passes next year after it's reintroduced. They'll probably pass it in November, but it would not shock me if it goes around again and they change it in April and kind of try them both out and then figure it out from there. They might do
that would make. Yeah.
They might do a kind of swing back and forth because they don't know.
Yeah.
And it could always be repealed, you know. That's I mean, like
before.
I didn't even realize before that it had been done, and then we're going back to the normal switching times. That's kind of
literally
wild.
a year later. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, exactly right.
Well, I can understand why they did it. If there was an oil embargo, it does have energy benefit to
no question.
You know, the times
Big
where
time.
you're awake, you're not having to. If the sun is out most of that time, you don't have to presumably use lights or other kind of powered devices that would require the electricity.
And it helps your heater. It would help your heater in the colder because your sun's out. You don't have to. It does have many energy benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We'll see what happens, but it's fascinating discussion for sure. But with that, gentlemen, that ends episode 110 of Two Noobs Talking. Woohoo! It's great to be able to sit and chat with you guys. Some very interesting topics this week, for sure. We hope you found it fun, educational. Don't get that third jab, whatever you do. I'm just putting that out there.
Or do, because we don't actually
whatever
care.
you do, whatever you want. I don't care.
We're not going to tell you what to do either.
Yeah. Consult your physician. Yes. Exactly right. All right. Well, John, where can people find us out there in Two Noobs?
We are on Facebook, TikTok, Clapper, Instagram, Twitter. Not the evil Twitter that Elon Musk, the other Twitter. We post short videos that bring us to our YouTube channel that actually has our name in it now.
Woohoo! I love it. Two
baby.
Noobs Talking. Love it. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, share, subscribe, get notified when our episodes drop. And hey, why don't we throw this in there, gents? We'll show a link down here in the lower third. We have a Podbean link, or it's our website, Two Noobs Talking website down here.
Yes.
You can check out all of our past episodes there audibly, and then find out a little bit about us, little bios if you're curious in that regard. But yeah, we're making some progress, making one step at a time in that regard. Steve, where can people listen to us out there?
People can listen to wherever they can hear me screaming. It's all good, baby.
But
Podbean proudly hosts. I don't know if they proudly. I don't know who's.
I don't think they're proud of us at all.
No, I don't think so either. But they host us. We're on their servers. They do our bidding, and they spread us out. Yeah, they spread us out into the world where you can hear us on your favorite podcast stations. So Apple Podcast, Samsung Podcast, Google Podcast, Pod Chaser. Pandora, Amazon Music. Special happy birthday to our iHeartRadio listener, Glenn.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Happy birthday, Glenn.
Passive aggressive.
Happy birthday, Glenn. Newman.
Cowboys suck. What am I leaving out? Spurtify and Pod Thingy. Pod Taker.
Chaser.
It's like Pod.
Yes,
it's like that Seinfeld Costanza. Heartbreaker, Love Taker, Pod Chaser, Pod Maker, Brew Baker.
Do what you want to be.
If it has pod in it, we're probably there.
Yeah,
we're probably there. Exactly.
Rumor has it you can ask Alexa to play it. One of these days, I'm going to do a live demonstration. We'll see.
Nice.
That'd be awesome. All right, gents. Well, that's it. Episode 110 is in the can. It's on to 111 next week. We all hope that you have a great rest of the week. And until then, gentlemen, talk to you all next week.
Go Phillies.
Take care.